What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Whiskey and Wings podcast, special edition, fitness edition.
Fitness.
Right. So, fitness is pretty big in all of our lives. Some more than others. However, I wanted to start this off with, I am not a CrossFitter by any means. One, I'm way too old. Two, it just screams as if it's going to hurt me. But I have been in this horrible loop on YouTube watching Matt Frazier, who is the five-time...
fittest man in the world.
Right. The fittest man. Five-time CrossFit champion in a row. Not like 5 times over a period of 10 years. He literally has won it 5 times straight.
Brad's man crush.
Right. A little bit.
Yeah.
So he recently retired after last year's win. Mainly because the dude that had 4 wins retired as well. So now I'm thinking, if that dude, I forget his name. He's so insignificant to me that I don't even know his name.
He's no Matt Frazier.
Right. He's no Matt Frazier. But anyway, so we wanted to do the special edition just to kind of get in the muck of fitness a little bit.
We've teased it in the earlier episodes that we're into fitness a little bit. We have our full-time producer now.
Right. So yeah. It makes pumping out these podcasts so much easier now that the technical end is being taken care of.
Yeah. I don't have to try to be the talent and the producer. You know, I'm just strictly talent. Kevin handles all of the technical work.
Yeah, I mean, you can call it that. You can say like that. The it factor is probably the best way to describe what I do. It just makes you guys go.
You have really kicked up our podcast.
The download numbers this week were insane.
They are.
You know,
Yep.
It was.
So anyway, during the lockdown, actually this podcast was conceived while working out. So during the lockdown, we kind of migrated from our closed gym and established the underground gym, which was a garage gym in my garage. Recently has had some updates, and we have now gone back to it. So we went back to our normal gym and then basically realized it wasn't even as close to being as fun as the underground.
Exactly.
So we migrated back to the underground with some much needed improvements.
Yes.
And now it's basically a fully functional gym.
Give a rundown of what equipment we have in there.
So waited all summer for bumper plates like everyone did. You know, weights were all fitness equipment were a huge demand this year. Actually last year, I should say. So I waited for months for bumper plates, you know, had opportunities to buy Chinese versions, things like that. But during a China virus, you don't buy Chinese products. We all know that. But so
only Rogue.
Right.
We only go Rogue.
Bought a bunch of Rogue bumper plates, you know, got, you know, your standard squat rack, utility rack, you know, pull-up bars, dip bars, dumbbells, things like that. Recently added a Rogue Echo bike, or as I like to call it, and many others call it, Satan's tricycle.
That fucker is awful.
It is.
4 minutes on that thing. I thought I was going to throw up.
Right.
I have not been that winded.
It's amazing how bad you think he grew up riding a bike. Oh, I can ride a bike. Yeah, you sit your ass in that thing for 4 minutes and
We did a 10-20 split. So it was 10 seconds on, 20 seconds off. And after the first one, you're like, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. Around 4, you're like, I'm not going to make it the next ones. It's that quick. It catches up to you that quick. It is.
Yeah, round 7, I literally thought I was going to die. But then I thought, well, I only have one more. I'll put some effort into it, thinking I was going to go balls to the walls. And there's a watt meter. And, you know,
it shows you how hard you're going.
Yeah. So midway is like, say, 500 watts. In the first 2 rounds, you're up like to 600 and 700 watts. Like you're pegging it a little bit past halfway. You think you're going balls to the walls in round 8. Literally, you're 300 watts.
Yeah.
And it's everything to get that 10 seconds out. But it's a man maker, that's for sure. So
that's true. We got the rope.
Yeah, we got obviously climbing rope, rings.
What are the ropes on the wall?
Battle
Battle
ropes. And of course, the Chuck Norris Total Gym.
Chuck Norris Total Gym, which Kevin loves so much he bought his own.
I did. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's really good piece of machinery that you can use in a small space.
Certainly. I bought that Chuck Norris Total Gym.
Chuck noticed that day.
Probably 2005. It was
really
post back surgery, which I blew out my back doing squats.
Heavy
squats.
We're talking 600-700 pounds.
6 or 7 air squats. Is this record?
And that was my rehab piece of equipment. And believe it or not, it was worth every penny and still continues to be worth every penny. It can mimic almost every piece of equipment out there. And you would be amazed.
Some better.
Yeah. And you would be amazed what your body weight can do to you whenever you add it onto a sled and pulley system.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so we wanted to do this podcast solely on fitness, experiences, likes, dislikes, what's the word I'm looking for?
Etiquette.
Yeah.
Do's and don'ts of the gym. Yeah.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
So let's talk about gym etiquette. So we normally go to what I wouldn't consider a meathead gym by any means.
No.
In fact, there are 0 meatheads in there. It's more of a smaller, come in and use the treadmills, maybe do some of the circuit equipment that is easily set up, pull pin type things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has its fair share of free weights, for the younger clientele.
The main clientele base, I would say, is like older retired folks.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Which is fine. And it's a good environment. But
that's where the 3 of us met.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
What do you mean?
I've known you unfortunately longer.
That's true, but you met Brad, and I met Brad because of the gym. Yeah. Funny story, Brad and I worked out probably every day at the exact same time for, what would you say, maybe a year and a half, 2 years? I'd say.
That's fair to say.
And you came in every day with the headphones on, very similar to this, put them on, didn't say a fucking word to anybody.
I'm getting my gym on, dude.
You would get your gym on. Never said a fucking word. And I was like, oh, there's that guy again. He is like, I thought you were a mute. Like, you never talked. You never said anything. And then one day I was talking to the gym owner, and all I said, he was talking about how he had to go to a choir practice or something coming up. And I was like, oh, I've been called the songbird of my generation. What are you doing over there, Kev?
Every once in a while, I want to make sure that the people know I'm still watching them.
Every now and then I look over, Kev's just...
Yeah. Don't know.
Anyway, I told Jack, the gym owner, that I've been called the songbird of my generation, and I've been told my voice sounds like a mix of Fergie and Jesus. And you must have just had your headphones off at that moment, and it fucking got you.
Yep. I honestly say that I was laughing so hard because that's all I heard. I didn't hear what led up to it or anything. I just heard that, I've been told that I have the voice of Fergie and Jesus.
Yeah. Which is obviously a quote from Step Brothers. Which, did you know that at the time?
I've heard it before. I didn't know if I wouldn't say that I knew it was from that movie, but I knew it was from something.
You knew it was a quote. Okay.
Yes.
So you knew, I didn't know. I guess I've always wondered.
I can assure you, I knew you didn't make that up.
Well,
but that's kind of how we were introduced to each other.
But I want to bring this up. You both were following good gym etiquette, whatever.
For 2 years.
Yeah. If someone has their headphones on, you do not talk to them. They are there for a mission.
Yeah.
And you let them be. Brad has his headphones on. We let Brad be. Now we don't.
No, now it doesn't matter if he has headphones on or not. He's getting his.
But that's a definitely do and don't of the gym, no matter where. Even at.
I'd say that's like rule number 1.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different types of people in there. A lot of people don't want to socialize. They are there just to work out. But then you also have people like us that are there. We're socializing as well.
Yeah, it's a social hour.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk gym etiquette. So I've been a member of many gyms, from powerhouse gyms to Bally Total Fitnesses, like across the country.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in meathead gyms where you go in there and dudes are bending bars and you kind of have to work your way in between them because you don't want to get crushed, and they're looking at you, and power lifters over here and chalk buckets over here, and or Pilates classes going on here. And I will say there are set standard rules for etiquette in a gym.
All right.
Regardless. And here are my biggest ones. Put your weights away. If you're tough enough and strong enough to lift the weights up, put them back. Right?
Yeah.
That's number 1. I can't tell you.
Didn't you recently almost get into a fight over that?
I did. So I have a little bit of a obsessive compulsive disorder when it comes to this. I will put weights away constantly. If they're not on weight horns or, put back on the dumbbell racks and things like that, it bothers me and I have to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that the gym we go to, it's not very crowded. So, when people are not there using them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not you're not trying to decipher if somebody's in between sets and it's just sitting there. So
you basically, if it's being used or not. Yeah.
Right. So I am at a constant cleaning up the gym.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horrible etiquette to use a weight or use a piece of equipment and not reset it back to zero. Put your weights away, put your piece of equipment back to normal. If you're using a bar, put it back to where the bar goes. Mm-hmm. That is rule number 1. Rule number 2, and this might even make me more angry than rule number 1.
All right.
Do not hold benches or equipment hostage with your shit. All right. I don't care if you have a water bottle, straps, your phone, your headphones.
Like a bunch of shit, yeah.
Don't set them down on benches. They're not there for your personal storage shelf. All you do is you hold that piece of equipment hostage with that. Find a spot off to the side and put them on the floor. It's no dirtier than the bench that you're putting it on. Mm-hmm. So if, just because it's in arm's reach, find somebody place else to put it.
Yeah.
All right. That is my number 2 gym etiquette rule. Don't hold equipment hostage.
Mm-hmm.
Rule number 3, no one cares what your workout is. If a piece of equipment is being used by somebody else, if it flows into your next exercise, move on. Mm-hmm. Right? If somebody's dilly-dallying and holding up, if you're in a gym that only has one squat rack and it's leg day for you, you need to do squats.
Yeah.
Give them ample time to finish a normal set. I mean, everybody knows how long it takes to, if a dude's doing squats and then goes to something else in that squat rack that doesn't need to be, approach them, at that point and say, look, you have many, let them kind of put them on notice that you're kind of on cue for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, if it's just somebody that's on that piece of equipment in a normal amount of time and you can work around it, go do something else. Mm-hmm. Your little list or your little book that you're keeping, that I never understood that, where if you can't remember where you're at in strength, if it's too heavy for you, drop down a little bit of weight. If you couldn't remember that you were doing 25-pound dumbbells last time, because that's usually the people that keep those notes, the ones that pick up 25-pound dumbbells, there's a good chance you'll never think that you should have been using 50s if that's what you're using, right? So that's,
they go for the 60s all of a sudden. They're like, fuck, that does not, let me check my notebook.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was only supposed to be doing the 20s, And listen, I am not a meathead. Look at me. I'm not a big guy, but I've been working out for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And so I've seen a lot of people in these gyms and they're just comical. And that's why I used to wear headphones and zone them up. I don't want to deal with it, because you can lose a lot of time in the gym once you start flapping your gums. You two are very well versed at that with your 3-hour workouts.
Okay. I would like to really stand out here. I used to be much fatter, so I had to have done something right in the gym.
Fatter. Yeah, Kev, tell us a little bit about your fitness.
So as I'd like to say the spokesperson for the obese community. I'm like the blade of it.
You take that burden upon yourself.
Yeah, I'm like the blade. I've walked both sides of life.
Fat and not fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now I'm in between, but
he was. Hey, you were a lot skinnier than me at one point.
Yeah. So at my heaviest, I'm not afraid of this. 320 at my max.
Yep.
And my lowest was 180. No,
yeah.
like
182, I thought.
182. Yeah. Well, not a healthy.
Those were some skinny jeans. Your hair was falling out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a healthy 182.
No, I lost it real fast.
Yeah, he just stopped eating. Basically, he moved to Connecticut. Didn't have like mom and dad around to cook dinner, I think, and he just didn't do it.
So it was a starvation diet?
It wasn't starving myself. It was starving myself relative to like what I was doing. I'd go to the gym every morning for an hour and just do the stair stepper. So I'd burn like 1,000 calories and then go eat like 500 or like eat 1,000 or something like that.
Okay.
But what are we even talking about? I just got heated. The fat people thing.
You were the spokesperson for fat people, but we wanted to hear your fitness journey. Yeah.
Yeah. So really just a heifer and got tired of it. So I decided to try to lose a lot of weight. That worked. COVID happened, gained some weight back, and now we're just
everybody did.
Now we're trying to get back to that back hill of it. So I I would say the one thing that I've noticed, again, because I've done way less lifting and more cardio in my gyms. There's still some things that are do's and don'ts that are similar to Brad's. The one thing, Brad, I have a question for you. I never heard this, but I was talking to some people about the putting your weights back on the machines that you have the little pulley that you can put your weight on it. So like it's normal like 0, 15, 30 and stuff like that. One of their biggest pet peeves was people that didn't put it back on 0. I've never done that. I didn't care. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I don't know if, that's a big deal because, right. If I had it on 30 and you're putting it on 20, I mean, you're literally still have to pull a pin out, but you should take off the accessory that was on there to establish the fact that it's free and clear. Like if you're using a rope or you're using a T-bar or just a handle, take it off, put it in the appropriate place or set it down on the floor, whatever your gym thing is, to declare it that I'm done with this, and so it doesn't lead to everybody asking, anybody on this? Anybody on it? If there's nothing on it, then it's kind of wide open unless you're standing by it, I guess. But, I mean, that you're getting kind of in the weeds there. It's all kind of the feel. It's just, but you know what, and here's another thing. And this goes back to, if you're tough enough to pick it up, if you're using like 45s are traditionally on the bottom horn of weight horns, right? Okay. So if you're using it, say on a bench and it has the horns attached to the bench, like most of them have, and you're leaning it up against the horn instead of simply picking it up an inch off the ground and sliding it on the horn, you're a lazy piece of shit.
I'm very much the person that does not put it back on the horn.
Really?
Once again, though, 45s, I'm not putting those 45s on the bench for myself. I'm helping somebody else out.
Right. So once you lean it up against the horn, you've established nothing more will go on that horn until somebody else picks it up and puts it on the horn. But I don't want to get bogged down with this etiquette thing. I want this, we don't want to spend too much time on the don'ts. Let's talk about the do's.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a little segue for this. I'll jump in here. I'll take the rungs on this one.
Yeah.
So what do you wear to the gym? What's the appropriate thing to wear? I mean, some people get pissed if they see a girl in something that's really skimpy.
I never get pissed.
Other guys
by
like
that.
that a lot.
I've never.
Yeah.
Unless it's like not
something you want to see.
Right.
That's true. Which is basically our gym.
So once again, I'm going back to that. I'm not a big lifter, so there's a lot of people that I've seen lifting that I look up to. So I'm trying to find, who do I go in there? Who do I respect the most? Is it the guy that's on the bench that's been there for 2 hours, but he's doing like 300 pounds?
Yeah.
No. Okay, I'll tell you this every time. It is the dude that looks like shit. The guy that's like a homeless person, because he doesn't care. Okay, he's not in there for anyone but himself. I don't care if he's doing
just there
nothing.
making himself better.
Yeah.
I beg
and that's
to differ.
why I
I think
look
he's
homeless.
there to use the shower. He is homeless, and he's simply there to make it seem like he's working out, and then he's going to go shower and rummage through everyone else's lockers.
I mean, you might be right, but that guy's my hero.
Wardrobe for a gym, appropriate. If you're a jack guy and you want to wear a shoestring, tank top, hey, more power to you. You're a jack guy. That's why you're there. That's what you put all that work in for, is to show off your muscles.
Yeah.
If you're less than a physical specimen,
Yeah, I don't really care what people wear to the gym. I'd say I judge the people more on when they have like Project Rock, or they have these very expensive type of attire. I actually judge it the other way. I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, are you a sponsored athlete? So I think, I don't really care about the lower end of it. I think personally, because I'm probably right in the middle, I just wear a pair of like Nike shorts and a t-shirt basically.
I kind of wear the same 5 things rotated throughout the week, because the stuff gets ruined.
You're a what? What'd you say you are?
I'm the homeless guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm the homeless one that just walks around with disgusting hoodies and just shorts that have like paint and stains all over them.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. That's kind of. I'd say I'm in between. I'm not quite that level, but I'm definitely not Project Rock or even I don't know what the other type of really expensive brands, but them when you see them, and you see the person, and it's normally somebody that is not is not super jacked. They just have that apparel, and I don't know. To me, that's kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Right.
So what about named accessories? So like wrist straps and stuff like that, gloves.
I judge people that wear gloves.
What about all right, what about that? That is it okay to get? So you didn't say anything about wrist straps. You have wrist straps?
I don't use them anymore because I became too reliant on them.
Okay.
My wrists were too weak, so I stopped using wrist straps. I used to use them. I don't use gloves. I use the straps that what are those things Versa grips? I use those, yeah.
What, squat belt?
Yeah.
Is
Because
that
that's to
stuff?
help your back.
What about that stuff? Do you name brand or just off brand?
I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody recognizes. Back in the day, when Joe Weider was the standard, if you didn't have like a Weider belt, then it was like generic, because that was the only name in physical fitness back then is Joe Weider. That was like
Never even heard that name before. Have you, Kev?
No, God, no. I think he keeps on mispronouncing Schwarzenegger.
no. Ironically, this is the era of Schwarzenegger. Like Joe Weider was like the first protein powders and like he was the father of physical fitness. And I don't think if Weider translated or eventually mutated into Muscle and Fitness or bodybuilding.com or whatever, but he was definitely the pioneer. He was kind of like the what's a good comparison? He was, I don't know. He was like the godfather of fitness to the normal person. He was the but Joe Weider used to do the Mr. Universes and stuff. He would be the one that handed Arnold his trophy.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Like, so he might've been like the person that put on the Mr. Universes or the Mr. Olympias or whatever it was back then. But, Arnold was one of his spokespersons.
The Dana White of
he was
lifting.
the Dana White
Yeah.
of lifting back in the day. So, but as far as accessories, as long as you're using them properly, I don't care what you use. If you're using wrist straps or wrist brace, I've used them all throughout the years. If I was having bad wrist years or bad wrist months, I would wear wrist supports and things like that. But if you're wearing everything, if you're wearing a knee brace and bench pressing, you're a dick, because now you're just wearing stuff to make it look like you're tough.
Yeah.
So, but to each his own. That's the other thing. I don't give a shit.
Nah.
Don't hold up a bench with your shit, with all your braces and straps and everything else. I don't care what you use. If you're using a fad device, listen, I've been a sucker to these fad devices thinking it's going to, fat grips and this and
all
that,
stuff,
all that stuff. And they all have their place until you get sick of them and then you don't use them anymore. Like you've seen my milk crate of shit that that just lays it. And it's not bad stuff. It's just fitness is kind of like golf, it's the next best thing. Oh, this will make your biceps bigger, or this will make your squat that much better because it aligns this up. It's all gimmicky unless it works for you. And you'll eventually get through it. I've been through 400 different philosophies of working out, from your standard, you have to bench press, you have to do this, you have to do this to, and I'm still in this. I've changed my mind on fitness multiple times throughout the year. Currently, I'm in this functional fitness. We just started a functional fitness program, kind of a little mix of traditional weightlifting and then traditional more Olympic stuff or CrossFit stuff, where you're implementing some functional stuff that is more cardio based, more dynamic movement, simply to establish a little bit different strengths and areas. It's not so much about having the bulging biceps or the thick quads or whatever from traditional weightlifting. It's more about,
huge dongs.
Can you do this? Get a little ripped while doing it, cut a little body fat and be able to, simply move a dresser in your bedroom without pulling something in your back, because it's not a standard squat, or it's not a standard deadlift, or
now, I know
not get winded walking up the steps.
Yeah, I really agree with that too. I mean, from the weight loss side of it, I talked to a lot of people. They lose weight. I decided the thing that really helped me lose weight was the ketogenic diet, and a lot of people shit on it and stuff. It's like, why do you care if it's working for me? I think whatever, I have increased sodium or something like that, it's going to kill me a lot slower than being 320 pounds.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
whatever works, it works.
Yeah.
Well, I think that any diet, if it works, I have made this proclamation before.
All right.
I am not a doctor. right.
Are you sure?
However, in my experience, and in many people's experiences, diets are what they are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide to go on a keto diet and it works for you and you lose weight because that's why you went on it, that's great. Chances are, though, that if you don't change what caused your weight gain in the first place, if you were a 320 pound fat slob, waist,
He was a 320.
Slug.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
320. Yeah, just
Yeah. Oh, he
whale.
wasn't a fat slob.
Piglet.
if you were a 320 pound person
Yeah.
and decide to go on keto, what got you to 320 pounds? Poor eating habits and lack of exercise.
A lot of cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you decide to go on the keto diet and it works wonders. You drop
At max, what was it, like
140?
40, yeah.
Yeah.
140 pounds.
That's so much weight.
Regardless of what that diet was, you obviously changed something in your life. You probably increased your activity, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, everything was all around. I'm a different person.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you continued on that keto diet, which probably isn't very likely because it's a very difficult, it's not very socially, I won't say socially acceptable. It's not socially easy. It's not an easy diet to actively be in and still,
Go do things.
go do things,
Eat out
especially
with
at a younger,
friends.
like if you're older and you want to do something like that and you're, set in your ways and you're willing to give up other things in your life in order to maintain that lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But if you're a younger person and all your friends are out and they want to have a few beers or they want to get a pizza, it's very difficult to do that. You're the dude you're the dude with the saggy skin sitting in a corner, not enjoying the pizza or not going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you change something in your lifestyle. You've increased your activity. That's great. You have to maintain that because if you do not maintain the positives in that lifestyle change, it's not going to last for long. You're going to digress in exactly what happened before.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extent that you were. So any type of diet is great for what it is if it works.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is eat better. Eat better. Eat less.
Yeah.
Eat quality stuff. You can't go through your life constantly on diets, this next great thing or this thing or that thing. I don't think any of them are good for you. I don't think there's camps that say, oh, you should eat all meat. You should eat all vegetables. You should all this. Who the hell knows what, you and I are two different people.
Mm-hmm.
How our body reacts to different, how it reacts to food are completely different.
Yeah.
Find something that works for you, but maintain it whole foods.
Mm-hmm.
No one's saying that whole foods aren't good for you. Nobody.
Yeah.
No one's saying that if you eat clean, it's horrible for you. So that's my philosophy and everything. No one's going to be perfect all the time. You know, I'll eat a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies just like the next person, right? Thin Mints, crush them.
Yeah.
I'll feel like a piece of shit for doing it, but I won't regret it.
I think that guilty conscious is the big flip in people's
if
minds.
you feel bad for eating that sleeve of cookies, you're probably on the right path.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I think there's the people that don't feel bad after they eat those cookies, and it's a slippery slope.
All right.
I think once you train your mind like that, I think you're onto a lot better path.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I know you got to get going, Kev. So
Yeah, I do. I'm a very important person. I'm very busy.
yeah, Kev's very busy. So
Okay. So
this was a little midweek special to make up for the for missing a week, basically. Yeah.
So we'll throw these little special editions in every now and then, just talk about a specific topic and be done with it.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, make sure you subscribe, tune in next week, and have a good day.
Later.